Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Deputy Chief Marla Schufatelli, the Commanding Officer of Operations Valley Bureau. The Los Angeles Police Department's warning the public about a series of thefts and robberies that share some distinct and concerning commonalities. Although we've identified multiple incidents in the San Fernando Valley, this issue is definitely not confined to the Valley and is a citywide and countywide issue. These crimes have occurred in a variety of locations, such as streets, parking lots, bus stops, residential areas, and oftentimes they target elderly victims. So present today, the format, how we're going to do this is Captain Aaron Ponce is going to go next. He's the Commanding Officer of Mission Division. He's going to share some of the methods, MOs that these suspects use. So without further ado, Captain Ponce.
Thank you. Thank you for being here today as we take on this serious matter, specifically for our elderly community, because we know through the over 140 reports that those have been primarily our targeted victims. As this morning, as I said, we've had over 140 reports of what we would call the jewelry theft scam. The suspects are believed to be Caucasian, potentially Eastern European, and seem to operate in teams of two, with a male and a female. In addition, in some cases, they've brought children along with them. Suspects appear to be in their mid-40s with dark hair, and it appears that many of the female suspects in these cases almost always wear dresses. The suspects have, as I said, mainly targeted our elderly community who are wearing jewelry, such as necklaces, bracelets, chains, and rings. And they offer, as what you see in front here, additional jewelry that would complement them, and they're very good at sleight of hand removing their own jewelry. This is particularly sensitive to me and close to my heart, as my mother-in-law, who lives in Orange County, was a victim of this about 3 years ago. So again, same type of MO where she was contacted in a parking lot, try the bracelets on, and they were able to remove heirloom watch from her. So I know that our seniors are many times reluctant to come forward, embarrassed, but we do need all of our citizens to report these crimes to us so we can dedicate resources and put a stop to this. In some cases, these suspects have put fake jewelry on our victims, either around their neck or on their wrists. The victims usually are unaware that that theft has been taken until after the fact and the suspects are gone. In many cases, our suspects have either driven a black SUV or a white SUV, and that's been a commonality through many of these crimes. Just to highlight, in the Valley, we have approximately 86 reported crimes as of this morning that are similar. When we look at the divisions that make up Valley Bureau, Van Nuys have had 17. Here at Mission, we've had 10. Foothill has had 7. North Hollywood has had 6. On the west side of the San Fernando Valley, Topanga has experienced 19, West Valley 14, and Devonshire 13. That brings the total to 86. Throughout the city, Central Bureau as a whole has had approximately 21. West Bureau, which makes up West LA, Pacific Division, Olympic Division, and Wilshire Division, have approximately 23, and then South Bureau 13. That's kind of a rundown or a summary of what we're seeing throughout the city, but specifically here in the San Fernando Valley. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce the Commanding Officer of Mission Detective Division, and that's Lieutenant Samir Issa, who is going to discuss safety tips for our community. Sammy, over here.
Thank you, Captain, and thank you all for being here today. My name is Samir Issa. I'm the Detective Commanding Officer over at Mission Division. I'm going to discuss safety tips for our community members. As we approach summer months, summer clothing will most likely reveal jewelry worn by our potential victims, making them desirable targets. To avoid becoming a victim, the Los Angeles Police Department is encouraging the following. Pay attention to your surroundings. Look out for individuals or vehicles that may be following you. Avoid engaging with strangers who approach you in a vehicle or on foot. If you engage strangers in friendly conversations, keep your distance. Don't accept gifts from strangers, especially when they attempt to put the jewelry on your person. Report suspicious activity, including unfamiliar vehicles lingering in residential areas. If possible, note the license, plate number, and a description of the suspects. But please remember that your safety is a priority. Do not do anything that may jeopardize your safety. In the unfortunate event you become a victim, avoid handling the fake jewelry left by the suspects on your person, and allow us the opportunity to process this pieces of evidence for possible DNA. Continue to inform and assist the elderly segment of our communities who generally do not monitor social media and are not always accustomed to following crime prevention tips on their own. So we're asking that for our community members to have these discussions with their parents, their grandparents, their uncles, their aunts, their neighbors, and to make sure that they don't fall as victims of these crimes. And as Captain Ponce mentioned, we do encourage our community members, if you know anybody else in your community or a family member that has been a victim of this crime, to please report this to one of our community police stations. Anyone with information, we encourage to reach out to LAPD at 1-877-LAPD 24/7, or if they wish to remain anonymous with any tips on these suspects, to reach out to our Crime Stoppers hotline, and we'll provide the phone numbers for you. Thank you very much. With this, I'm going to hand it over to Detective Luz Montero. She is the Mission Area Robbery Officer in charge, and she'll provide the same information that Captain Ponce and myself provided in Spanish, and we'll answer any questions after that. Thank you.
Thank you. Buenos días y gracias por venir. Yo me llamo Detective Luz Montero. El Departamento de Policía de Los Ángeles está alertando al público sobre una serie de robos de distracción. Estos delitos ocurren en áreas residenciales de Los Ángeles. Las víctimas por mayor parte son personas de mayor edad, hombres y mujeres. Los sospechosos se creen que son de ascendencia europea. Son hombres y mujeres que operan de vehículos alquilados. Por lo general, piden direcciones en español mientras permanecen adentro de su vehículo. Cuando la víctima se acerca para ayudar, los sospechosos ofrecen una pieza de joyería, como las que están aquí, y colocan joyas falsas en el cuello de las víctimas mientras se roban las joyas reales. Las víctimas no se dan cuenta que han sido robadas hasta que los sospechosos se han ido. En algunos casos hay niños presentes en el vehículo de los sospechosos para distraer más a las víctimas. Ha habido ocasiones que los sospechosos se salen de sus carros y tratan de empezar conversaciones con las víctimas. ¿Cómo mantenerse seguro? Estas son las que queremos decirle. Evite hablar con extraños que se acerquen a usted. Reporte actividad sospechosas, incluyendo vehículos desconocidos en las áreas residenciales. Si es posible, anote placas de los carros y descripción de los sospechosos. Si se convierte en víctima, no toque a la joyería con sus manos. Use guantes y hable a la policía para tratar de obtener huellas o ADN de los sospechosos. Lo que tenemos aquí en la mesa son las piezas que dejaron los sospechosos. Todas estas piezas de aquí. Muchísimas gracias.
So we're willing to take any questions that you may have.
LG, if you could, how fast do these guys work, and how do you get up to someone so quick that they're able to lay hands on them, gently pat them, and then all of a sudden, you know, it's pickpocket time? These are pros.
So they're very fast, they're very efficient, they work together as a team. They're as quick as they can strike a conversation and become very friendly, and once they get close enough to the victims and they remove their jewelry, they're just out of there, so it happens very quick. And for an approximate time, I think Detective Montero can give you approximately how long does it take for?
Seconds. We have video that we are going to share with media.
Detective, step
Sir.
forward on this one, yeah. Yeah, when we're talking about these guys approaching someone and then doing the crime and then they're out of there, how long does this take?
2 or 3 seconds? So with the entire communication? Okay, so mainly what they have been doing is they'll approach elderly victims. They're either walking their dogs, they're in front of their home, doing their yard. They come up very friendly and they strike a conversation. Hey, I need directions. You know, it just depends how the conversation goes. If the victim goes right to the vehicle, it's within seconds that they do the exchange. And the victims never feel it, and that's how good they are.
Do they compliment them on their jewelry,
They
what
do.
they're wearing?
They do sometimes. Brent, would you like to talk about
Pattern-
this?
What's the pattern of how the conversation goes?
My detective has talked to some of the victims. He probably give you more.
Go ahead and identify yourself.
Hello, Brent Lamoureux. I'm a detective here at Mission.
How does the conversation go with these people?
They usually say they've come into some money. Oftentimes, they're complimentary of the people themselves. You look like a nice person, and then within seconds, they're trying to offer jewelry onto the people themselves. And sometimes people refuse, but they're just so aggressive with it that the elderly often just relinquish. They feel like they've got a gift, and then as soon as the exchange is done, I mean, they're out of there. They're running away and then driving fast away.
How do the kids factor in on this? Do the kids sort of a sense of trust with the elders see?
I'd imagine so. I've only seen personally that once where a child was in the car.
Has this been a pattern of activity that has happened does it happen every so often in LA? Do we have this kind of is this an organized group or ring that we think is?
I don't have information on the past, but what I can say is, for speaking to other detectives that have worked this assignment before, it's a recurring issue, but it just so happens to be happening more frequently now.
Is this a fairly large ring, like you were talking about from the valley all the way to the west side? Is it the same people that are just traveling from the west side, from here to the west side, or is it like just a large organization?
It appears to be multiple people, and I can say that I've encountered suspects of the same crime once, but most of the time it's new people, and we're communicating throughout the city trying to identify these people.
Anything about the ethnicity of the suspects?
I'm going to defer to my boss on that one.
I'll answer that. So usually the suspects are Caucasians, but they do have dark hair, dark complexions, and some dark eyes. We believe they to be from Eastern European because of the accent that was described by the victims.
Romani, gypsies, things like that?
We believe that they're from Eastern Europe, not specifically a certain area, but they are from Eastern Europe, what that appears to be, based on their accent and some of the description by the victims. To go back to your question, this is a big problem. It is a very well-organized group. I know there's been some other media press conferences by other agencies within Southern California that have done the same thing, and they have reported similar crimes where the suspect had the same, they called it a distraction theft, where they distract the victims and they remove their jewelry and their belongings. So yeah, we believe this is to be such a big problem, not only for the city of LA, but also for Southern California, and even maybe above that and beyond that.
You mentioned summer months coming up. Do you expect the instances to increase?
We do, and this is why we're doing this, because we are asking for the community to help us out with this. Unfortunately, with the summer, people are going to be wearing summer clothing. The jewelry is going to be more exposed, and we believe that this is going to actually give these suspects a bigger target, if you will. And we anticipate there's going to be more crimes, and the best way we can prevent these crimes, in addition to actually pursuing the suspects and taking them into custody and pursuing the criminal aspect, is to actually prevent the crime from taking place. And the best that we can do this is working with our community members, trying to prevent this from happening and making it a harder target. Hopefully that'll just kind of go somewhere else, and we'll see less incidents as the summer comes.
How do we approach our elderly relatives who are, for the most part, trusting? How do we begin that conversation where mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, you need to be careful when you go out to walk the dog or just take your walk?
Exactly what you just said. Having just this informal conversation over dinner, or just having a cup of coffee, or during a visit, like Captain Ponce said, I know it's close to him because his family member was victimized. The same thing where an aunt of mine a few years back was also victimized. So I think we need just to have this just normal discussions over just dinner, or going over friends or family members' house for a get-together, a birthday party, whatever the case is. Even just a phone call saying, hey, look, just be aware of this. This is something big. It's happening. We're seeing it. Other people are seeing it. So we need to stop it. And the best thing that we can do as working with our partners in the community, is to make sure that everybody knows, and the more people know, the most likely they become victims.
Are these are these necklaces recovered from victims? Is this what they leave behind? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Every necklace that you see here is actually, it's a fake necklace, and these are the ones that were placed on the victims after their jewelry were removed. One of these necklaces actually were recovered from a vehicle that was used in the crime. When our detectives did respond and locate the vehicle and recover the evidence from the vehicle, which connects the suspects to the vehicle. So we're working on some of these investigations, which I would have Detective Montero kind of talk a little bit about, asking the community for help in identifying. This is one of the cases that we have here in Mission, that we're able to get some video that we can share with you, but also we have photos of the suspects that we would like to get identified so we can pursue them. Detective Montero?
To answer your question or piggyback on what you said, sir, this is what I say. We tell our kids, don't talk to strangers. We have to tell our parents, our elderly parents, don't talk to strangers. They're up to no good. They're not going to be, they're not your friends. They don't need and if they do need directions, guess what? They can get them from somebody else. But they are targeting the elderly community. We know this, and they do it often. They do it during the day. So they need to be scared. If somebody approaches them, stay away from them. And call the police if it seems like they're doing something that's, not so good. So.
Are they casing, like in advance, just to check out who's elderly in the area, or is it just who they happen to stumble upon?
So we noticed in one of the recent ones that happened on Roscoe, right by Galpin. So it was during the day, the car was traveling eastbound, and we see that same car looking over. They see the elderly man walking the dogs. I don't know how they were able to see that he was wearing jewelry, but they conducted a U-turn, and they started talking to him. And he had a very, sentimental pendant. He was in he was in one of the forces, right? Army Force or something he got from his wife, like years ago. They are professionals. They spot this stuff. So, that's why we need to make sure that we educate the public.
Going after single victims, if you've got 2 or 3 people who are walking together, is that a little bit of a deterrent? They don't want to try to tackle 2 or 3 people at once?
I haven't had a case, and I have not heard of a case where there's more than one person, sir.
So it's just one-on-one, basically?
Correct.
Have any of the thefts turned violent?
Yes, there was one also this year where an elderly lady, they remained in the vehicle. The female suspect called the elderly female over, and she grabbed her neck very forcefully while taking the chain out and putting the other one on. So yes, they are getting violent.
You say this is widespread. Are you guys working with other agencies?
Absolutely. I believe Irvine, Orange County reached out to us when we started putting this together, and they actually arrested a couple. But they could be, this is huge. This is a big group. So we have to try and pinpoint, DNA, and a lot of these cars are rented cars, and the rental companies are not helping us. So we're asking also that we get that help from the rental companies. And I don't know that they're getting information that's accurate from the people that are renting the cars. So it's huge. So in order for this to be avoided, I think it's the victims that need to be smart and not let these people victimize them.
Are you able to name other agencies you're working with?
Irvine reached out to us. Sheriff's Department.
What kind of charges are these bad guys getting slapped with?
Grand theft is basically what we're going after. If we can get them to have multiple grand thefts, then that would be great.
Nothing like no
Elder abuse. That's an option too, like with that particular one that I told you about where they grabbed her neck and they actually used force. Absolutely. Elder abuse would be.
Are you going to share the videos with us here, or are you going to send them to us, or how do we get that?
They can reach out to media relations.
That would come through media relations, including this press conference, within the hour, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay.
When did this string
They'll be uploaded
of
to our
incidents
YouTube
start
channel.
in Southern California? Are we talking, is this a seasonal thing? Like, I hate to say it, you have tourism burglary. Guys hit the area 3 to 4 months, they're gone. Is the same thing happening here? They start roughly about spring, and by fall, they're out and gone.
So, sir, unfortunately, I have 25 years on the job. I was here as a robbery detective many, many years ago, and this was happening. It's just this past year that we've seen an increase, and we're like, we have to do something because it's a lot. But it's been going on for a long time.
Can you talk about any undercover, or I mean, or so, what kind of action are you guys taking? We can, what to do, but what are you guys doing? If you can tell us.
All that I can tell you, like Detective Montero has mentioned, we are working with other agencies, and we are working together as a police department, and most importantly, we are working with our partners in the community. And I think that's the best way that we can tackle this. We do have some other plans and ideas as we work together on these cases, but obviously we can't share any of the stuff at this moment. But we are working as a team, and we'll eventually identify the suspect with the help of our community members.